Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Tech India. This is lecture 9 for the series Computer Networking, and in this video we will discuss one of the most important topic, that is OSI model. It is important for your exams, for your placement and even for your future interviews as well. Now OSI model. OSI stands for Open System Interconnection. It was developed by ISO, International Organization for Standardization, in year 1994. It is a reference model that explains the process of transmitting data between computers. In simple words, the OSI model provides a standard for different computer systems to be able to communicate with each other. The OSI model is a reference model, meaning it is not used in real life. In the OSI model, there are 7 layers that works independently of each other when sending and receiving data. So there will be 7 layers in this OSI model which will work independently and will help you in achieving your ultimate goal, that is to transfer and receive data. Each layer in OSI model does not depend on the others, but the data transmission occurs from one layer to another. Each layer in this model has its own specific function, making it possible for data to be easily transmitted from one system to another. The model is called the Open System Interconnection OSI because it allows the communication between two different systems, making it possible for them to interact with each other. So I hope you got this point. This allows the communication between two different systems. So it makes it possible for them so that they can interact with each other. Now each of these layers has its specific functions, and within these layers various protocols like data encryption, HTTP, logical reasoning, Ethernet, binary transmission and many other works. These protocols are used to securely send and receive data from one system to another within a network. These layers are not interconnected with each other. Data transmission occurs from one layer to another. The OSI model consists of 7 layers, and each of these layers has its own function, as we have just discussed. But now let me show you it with a picture, because that will help you in understanding more clearly. First one is physical layer, then data link layer, then network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer and application layer. So these are 7 layers. You should learn all these 7 layers because these are very helpful, because transmission will happen in this manner only. First physical layer will be used, then data link, then it will go to network layer, then transport layer, then session layer, then presentation and then to the application. Now we will discuss all these layers one by one so that you could understand what exactly the OSI model is doing. Physical layer. Physical layer is the bottommost or the first layer of the OSI model. It is responsible for the actual physical connection between the devices. This layer is responsible for converging digital signal into electrical signal and transforming the data into its binary form, that is 0 and 1. That's why this layer is also referred to as bit unit layer. This layer determines whether communication between two devices will be wired or wireless. Now function of physical layer. The physical layer explains how two or more devices are physically connected to each other. The physical layer also specifies which transmission mode will be used between two devices in the network, that is simplex, half duplex or full duplex. We have already discussed all these 3 types, simplex, half duplex, full duplex in previous videos, so you can refer that. This layer completes the task of network topology. This layer indicates the data rate, specifying how many bits will be transferred in 1 second. Now data link layer. That is second layer of OSI model. It is also known as the frame unit. In this layer, data packets sent by the network layer are decoded and encoded, and it also ensures that there are no errors in the data packets. In this layer, 2 protocols are used for data transformation. First one, HDLC, high level data link control. Second one, PPP, point to point protocol. The data link layer is further divided into 2 sublayers: mid axis control, that is MAC, logical link control, that is LLC. Now function of data link layer. This layer encodes and decodes data packets. These data packets are known as frames. It is responsible for adding headers and trailers to these frames. The primary function of data link layer is to perform flow control, maintaining a specific data rate from both the sender and receiver to prevent data corruption. This layer also manages error control. It handles access control when 2 or more devices are connected to a communication channel, determining which device is granted access. Now network layer. Network layer is the third layer in the OSI model, and it is also known as the packet unit. In this layer, switching and routing techniques are employed. The primary function of layer is to assign IP addresses to devices. In the network layer, the data is in the form of data packets, and the task of this layer is to facilitate the delivery of these data packets from one device to another. Now, function of network layer. Its primary task is to provide IP addresses to devices. The main function of network layer is to facilitate the delivery of data packets from one device to another. It adds the source and destination addresses to the header of data packets. These addresses are used to identify devices on the internet. This layer is also responsible for routing. It determines the best path for data packets to travel. It also performs switching. The network layer is primarily responsible for internetworking. Now, transport layer. Transport layer is layer 4 for the OSI model. It ensures that messages are transmitted in order in which they are sent and there is no duplication of data. So, it ensures that data are sent in the order. So, suppose this is first message, this is second message, this is third message, this is fourth message. So, first this one should be sent, after that this one should be sent, and then this one, and there should not be any duplication. Suppose if this one is sent, then 2 should not be sent twice, it should be sent just once. So, this is the purpose of transport layer. The main responsibility of transport layer is to transfer the data completely. It receives the data from upper layer and converts them into smaller units known as segments. There are few protocols that are used in transport layer which are mentioned here. Transmission control protocol, that is TCP. It is called in short form TCP. Then user datagram protocol, that is UDP. You may have heard the name of these two, TCP and UDP. Now, function of transport layer. The main function of transport layer is to transfer data from one computer to another. Its job is to provide point-to-point connections. It performs both flow control and error control function. When this layer receives a message from upper layer, it divides the message into multiple segments, and each segment has a sequence number to easily identify each segment. It is also responsible for controlling the connection. Now, session layer. The session layer is the fifth layer of OSI model which controls connection between many computers. The session layer provides the session management for communication between two devices. In simple terms, whenever a user opens a website, a session is established between the user and the computer and the website server. In other words, the main function of session layer is to oversee how connections are established, maintained and terminated. Function of session layer. The primary function of session layer is to establish, maintain and terminate sessions between two devices. It also fulfills the task of synchronization. That means whenever an error occurs during transmission, transmission is repeated. Now, presentation layer. The presentation layer is the sixth layer of OSI model and is also known as translation layer. The presentation layer presents data in a unified format between different systems that may have different data formats. It is also known as the syntax layer because it correctly maintains the syntax of the data. Now, function of presentation layer. The presentation layer is used for encrypting and decrypting data. Its primary function also includes compression. Compression is crucial because it allows us to reduce the size of data. It also performs the task of translation. Now, application layer. Application layer is the seventh layer and the highest layer of the OSI model. Its primary function is to provide an interface between our real application and other layers. The application layer is closest to the end user. Within this layer, protocols such as HTTP, FTP, SMTP and NFS are used. This layer controls how application access the network. Now, functions of application layer. Through the application layer, a user can access files from their computer. It also provides the capability to forward and store email. It allows us to access directories from a database. So friends, this was all in this video. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great learning.